All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Final Refrain Recap, and welcome here from the Roseville Vault Tour. If you were just watching that crazy Archon finals between X-Ray and Zenzi, that was an awesome match. Definitely
That
fun to
was
see that.
something. Yeah, for sure.
Huge congrats to everyone from this weekend there. Ooh, I need to change where the chat box is for this one.
Yeah, put it in
Yeah, go
between
ahead.
us. Yeah.
So we've got, if you didn't see the results yet, was it Dr. Sheep winning the sealed. We've got Dave C winning Alliance, and then Zenzi just taking down the Archon. Fantastic weekend, even though it was a smaller crowd, like they said on the stream lots of times. Super competitive crowd. There was so many people there who could have won that. So to get through that field, even though it was smaller, is no small feat. But we're now here to talk about what happened this week in the final refrain. This was our week 2. It is an exciting week, so let's get into this. We're going to go through our highlights from the matches.
Yeah. I did put in some spoiler tags, but hey,
Oh,
the
sorry.
bean's already out of the can, but
Listen, they'll see it all over the discords
cat's
and
out of the
stuff
bag or
anyways.
something. That's what you
Yeah,
say.
it's
Yeah.
over now. The people, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Or if you're just joining us now, then don't go back and listen to what I just said because there'll be spoilers. But yeah, we're going to go through the matchups that we saw from last week and then the new matchups that are created from the winners there. We'll go into our predictions, challenger matches, which are a new thing we're doing this season for the final refrain. And then we'll go through our statistics and trivia, which has been really, really fun. Big thanks to Snoopy for putting that together for us, also in the chat. So welcome in, everyone. And then also, of course, welcome Lord Judo here to co-host with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been an awesome week of Keyforge, and there will be at least 2 more weeks of awesome Keyforge coming from the final refrain. So we're gonna have a bit of a
It's
look
three,
ahead
three, right?
as well. 3, yeah, but depending on
Ish.
how fast the final is, maybe it comes very close. Yeah.
Roseville trivia section. If you didn't write it for us, Snoopy, we don't have it. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our highlights. This week was, I mean, the highlight for me is just how efficient this week was.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Wow.
crazy.
I
I
loved it.
think we were done with all of the games, so all 8 matches by Thursday evening US time, which has never happened before. Usually we're like doing stuff Sunday morning still, trying to get them in before the recap. So huge thanks to all of our players for being really fast on the picking those games up, and then also for the content for being able to catch all of those. It was really cool. But we also have some cool match highlights. Oops. Remember, I've always switched back over here. So I think this was a big one for a lot of people. Like, we're all watching from our Twitch channels, but like when it happened, I think everyone was just like, what just happened? And this was the double Data Forge walk-off in the game between Sneck and Random Joe. Uh, this was a really tough matchup for Sneck's deck. Very action heavy. Really wants to kind of be doing all this combo stuff. Random Joe's deck obviously having a lot of really just a lot of disruption of everything that Sneck's deck is trying to do. But there was a turn where Sneck was able to basically waste not Mushroom Man. I think it was at least twice in the same turn, draw a bunch of cards, and then just ended the turn there because wasn't able to do much else, didn't quite find the combo, or kind of had a bunch of cards in hand ready to do the combo, and then just Random Joe was able to just lock Sneck out for the next couple turns of doing anything, and finally just controlled the week into Logos, thinking this is not the house you can combo out of. Sneck
Ta-da!
just
Joke's on you.
played
Yeah.
3 cards, Data Forge, think twice, Data Forge. Game was just
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
2 keys in
Indeed.
one turn, basically for free. Totally out of left field. None of us were watching for that, and it was really awesome. So, very fun one there.
But I did add the spoiler alerts sheets before this. Like, are they just gone, or like are they not in the
Did you
presentation?
did you move them?
No, like 2 sheets up. I'm just wondering, like, what else might be missing. Just checking.
hold off, everyone. We're gonna.
Hold on. We're just double checking our technology here.
What the heck?
I
When
put
did
them
you put
before.
those in?
I just now, just like
Weird. It
30
must not.
minutes
Oh,
ago.
because I was already in slideshow mode. Maybe it doesn't put them in if
Ah,
you add
that's
them while I'm
why.
in
Okay,
slideshow.
okay,
So
okay,
good to know for next
okay.
time.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, we're back.
I'm always up for throwing wrenches in someone else's plans. Like,
Never any
it's my
technical
jam.
difficulties on
No.
Final Frame. So quick spoiler alert
Hey,
for
what'd you do?
VT 202 2025.
2025
Uh oh.
something.
We'll just say it's that number. We've had that many Vault Tours in
Yeah,
Keyforge for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, so Alliance Vault Tour winner Dave C. Dave's been playing Keyforge since the beginning, been going to tons of Vault Tours. This is his first Vault Tour win. Super excited for him on that. Local player for me too, so going to be really cool to see him when he gets back and congratulate him for this.
Yeah, and he was here for last week's recap. So
Oh yeah,
that's super cool that he that must have been the magic that he needed, right? Totally. And
maybe.
someone was saying my mic was loud, so I turned it down a little bit. Let me know if it's better.
Oh, I
Um,
can control that a little bit too. Sorry, all. Yeah,
yeah.
if anything's sounding funky, it might be that mine's a little quiet, so I'll try to bump mine up a little too. Um, but yeah, maybe obviously he got knocked out round one of this tournament, and that might have also been kind of a
Unfortunately,
motivator
yeah.
sometimes. It was a little bit different harmed. I believe he actually swapped out the logos, so he had
Did
been
he?
playing. Yeah, he had been
Oh,
playing the Caruso logos, and I think this one.
but it looked to have a assembling automatron and a shark and a Zenzi as well, or not? Or am I
I don't.
crazy?
I
It
have
had
to.
5 eddies, right? That was the whole.
Was he doing that this time? Okay, maybe it's a different thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah. I
maybe
think
it
it
was
was the
the same.
same. We'll have to
Maybe it
ask
was the
him.
same one. Okay, he had gotten another logos one that he was going to try, but I guess he was doing it this one. I missed that game sadly. Got in
No,
right at
I
the end,
think it was
so
the same. I'm
okay,
I'm
then yeah,
I'm almost sure.
yeah. So the Caruso Hydra Veil combo, which is a sick deck.
It's a pretty sick deck. Yeah.
All right, and then the one that lots of you are probably just watching, Zenzik winning with his named GR deck,
That's
which is
insane.
super
That's
cool.
insane.
He's been playing this one for a long time. He played it. I was telling Tom he played it in the Open last year at KFC. And so he's been really wanting to get a win with this one and finally does. So huge congrats. Very back and forth games. Lots of different interactions between those two decks with like the PKE Siphonators and the Poltergeist and stuff.
Interesting
So
choices indeed. Yeah,
yeah.
we were talking about it, and I thought maybe somewhere he could have key abductioned when it was on the near future lens, but we came to the conclusion it might be one off,
Yeah.
one amber off there. He got the win anyway, but very interesting games.
Yeah.
Just do watch it back if you have the
Yeah.
time.
Very cool. And then I guess we don't have one for Dr. Sheep's deck, but Dr. Sheep taking away the sealed.
No, indeed, no. I should have done that. Sorry, sheep. You know
It's
you're
not my
close in
fault.
my heart.
I didn't make the slide, Sheep. Don't get angry.
I did it, but you were in slideshow mode, so it didn't show up.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, getting back to these highlights. Second one, and this is just kind of like, I don't know. This was a highlight for me because I think we were kind of thinking this would be a tougher matchup, and Damat just showing how strong this deck is, even when it's slowed down by something like Quixelstone, which this deck you look at. Triple Retro Technician Lee, it's got the Calps, it's got the Bryo, it looks like it is fully on with this board control game. And game one, Quixelstone came down by turn two, and Damat was still just able to just change the game plan, really go into the Geistoid and Star Alliance, especially those rogue operations, just went crazy. And Damat was just able to win off of just kind of playing normal Keyforge against this Quixelstone deck, which just shows the strength of this
Normal
alliance, right?
Keyforge. Yeah.
Normaler.
You're world champion for a reason. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was a pretty cool one, just to again see like kind of him proving why he won worlds, right? This deck is not just about the one thing. It's a strong deck overall. It's got lots of strength into lots of matchups. So that was cool. And then this one, we got to see this deck do a little bit in round one. This is oh sorry, Fakey's deck. The Hysteria comboing with the Star Alliance, but I think in this round we got to see it do so much more of what this deck can do with this crazy Star Alliance board, with the Science Officer Morpheus down, playing the Hysterias off the Kirby's to replay the Infernus and just go wild. So these games were just, it's cool to see the
It
deck do what it can do.
it is wild indeed.
So those are my highlights. I don't know if you had any others, but some pretty cool stuff.
No, yeah, no, I agree with those. Um, the Sheep versus Donkey Forge match was interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, it wasn't a spectacular match, but it was cool to watch. But indeed, how fast people scheduled and
Yeah,
how smooth everything went, that was superb. Yeah.
you know we're organizers when that's our favorite part.
Yeah,
All right, so this is something that we have not. Well, we gathered at the beginning of this tournament, but we haven't actually
we
shared
did.
with anyone.
Yeah,
So when we ask players for their sort of profile information, one of the questions that was asked was their biggest fear in this tournament. So do you want to walk us through this? I think you kind of gathered all of this info.
yeah. So some people apparently have no fears or didn't fill it in entirely, but pretty much the player on the left is the player, and their most feared opponent is on the right. Um, so you could just have a look, and you will probably see a pattern in some of those. And we've got two slides because 16 players
Hmm.
here, and some people didn't know who was going to be playing um, before they submitted this. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that's funny. Yeah, and
uh,
that's about everybody except XKIX. I
yeah,
guess we got through in the tournament.
definitely throwing some shade there. But
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
see, our second one we've got the Dutch Collective. I love that. You have a
yeah.
team
Well,
name, but that's not how we know you.
no, yeah, and imported from Wisconsin. That's nice.
Random Joe, scared of someone who's not even in the tournament, but also fair. You have
Yeah,
a
well,
always
you
a
can be
scary
scared of that.
opponent. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Still afraid of Dave. Well, rightfully so, apparently, in some situations. Yeah.
and Rupisco getting very existential on us. The relentless march of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's get some look at this more closely. So our most feared players:
Yeah.
Catmural.
These showed up the most in the
Yeah,
I fear these opponents the most. Yeah.
which all are very worthy of that fear, right? Whether it's Archon or Alliance,
I
all three
think
of these
so.
players are
Yes.
they've made names for themselves. Very consistent, very strong players in both Alliance and Archon, right?
Yeah, I would definitely be scared sitting across from one of these people. Always you got to trust in your own skills, but yeah, it's always intimidating when you put a player and their achievements and you start going through them before you say, good luck in this game, good luck, have fun. You'll be like, oh, yeah.
Now the
Yeah, so
nightmares.
the nightmare would be if you're facing against your most feared opponent. Um, which, to my knowledge and 2 minute inspection of the list, it has not happened so far. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
That's a bad says I'll be honest, not up to date on all the international scene. All I know is I beat XKX in practice 99%. Yeah. Well, yeah,
There you
makes
go.
sense.
At least you know you
Fear
got
what
one, right?
you don't know, right? Yeah. Fear what you don't know.
So no nightmares have happened so far, but we might have some coming up.
Maybe.
Let's see. All right, let's get into our matches from the previous week. Starting out with match 17. Again, we did our first 16 matches in week 1, so now we're starting off on our 8 matches that
Yeah.
we had this week, match 17. Sitting across from one of these opponents on a regular basis.
Uh,
Yeah, Juno,
yeah.
how would you tell us who your biggest fear is?
I mean, well, yeah, it's a small size tab. We have this crayon board next to the dining table when we play Keyforge. Every time there's like a new sealed set, and then there's an H for arm, and there's a T for Tom, and there's whatever. And then somehow they just, the tally just is higher on one of these letters. Mine, obviously.
Of
So
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know how hard it must feel.
Yeah, it's gotta be rough harmed. Sorry. Our condolences.
Yeah.
All right, so first matchup here, we've got Sneck versus Random Joe. Again, Sneck bringing in the Leaping Frog deck, famous for basically being one of the few decks in Alliance that can OTK on turn one. It takes a lot of setting up, but it can do it.
It can. It can.
And then Random Joe just being on this filthy disruption deck. I think honestly, what surprised me the most about this deck is the life wards. They are so good, especially into something like Sneck's deck, which really
Yeah.
needs to get some creatures on the
Extremely,
board to combo.
extremely valuable. Yeah.
Um, so let's take a look at what happened. Game one actually did go to Sneck, as we just said. This was our one of our highlights. Just the two
Yeah.
data forges right out of nowhere, kind of
So
closing out
kind of
that
did
game.
OTK. You see that?
Did he turn off of the, or did he forge off of Amber the start of that turn?
Well, it looks like start of turn 7, forged, and then forge.
I don't know how to read this well enough. Oh,
So
I see what you're looking
turn
at. Yeah,
7 for 6, so naturally.
yeah,
And then
and
turn
then seven
7
seven.
for 0, and
Wow,
turn
so it
7 for
really was
0.
an OTK. Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
just
pretty
tough.
cool.
Like, as Random Joe, you have
Look
to
at
choose.
the total Amber, total cards played. Exactly the same, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Forge with Amber, then Data Forge through it twice. Yeah, that's pretty
nice.
impressive. And again, for Control the Weak is one of those cards I think in this tournament we've seen a lot of, like, it's not an easy card to always know what to play. Same with
No,
Restring Guntis. Like, what house you choose with those can be so tough in Alliance because these houses are all good. Game two though, we saw Random Joe's oppression, as the deck is called,
yeah.
really shine, and Sneck was really not able to really get hardly anything going. The total Amber there of 6 is just brutal. Although playing a lot of cards, just not really able to get anything going there. And then our
Yeah.
final game, also going to Random Joe, pretty similar there. Even more cards played for Sneck this time. 32 cards, but only getting 10 total Amber. So just not able to get anything going. Getting Control of the Weak locked out a lot. So we've got, yeah,
Still a
Random.
lot of cards played for such an impressive deck playing against you, honestly.
It's interesting because I mean Sneck's deck can archive a lot. It can draw a lot, especially
True.
like you get one turn of Untamed, and like we saw, you can draw most of your deck off of the
Yeah.
waste knots. But if you don't have stuff on board, which is kind of the problem with the combo piece, you have to have each house on board for it to really fire as well as it can. You just can't really get anything going. So I mean, Random Joe's deck is scary. It's a very scary deck in this tournament. So, but that game going, or that match going to Random Joe, moving on into our top 8. All right, match 18 then. We move on to Vargas versus SC Steel. This is a teammate matchup. Also saw a teammate matchup at Roseville just recently, but with Sydney going against Dave. So what?
This was something. Yeah, no, this game just
This was something.
yeah. Yeah, this was something.
So again, we've got the really the Amber Drake comboing along with those clipped wings in Vargas deck. Just lots and lots of value, lots of key cheating here, and then some disruption. And then Sydney's deck we know is kind of doing the corner of the market lockout with the artifact there. Sydney Steel taking game one, 9 turns, so a little bit longer game than we've been seeing in Alliance. But the cards played in this match for a 9-turn game is just kind of silly.
Yeah, yeah. And I see my bug is still there with the yellow key. Don't worry, next round it'll be fixed. But yeah, this
Yellow
was
key.
yeah. So the yellow key seems to be forged, but it's not.
Oh, gotcha.
No keys were forged, but the picture I just need to fix that. But this was an unfortunate or fortunate draw, I guess.
Depends
So
who you
like
ask.
really soon, yeah, really soon, everything just came up, and Farkas was like, "Yeah, I knew this was happen.
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna happen." So in practice, it was the other way, and then when it matters, Sydney needs to find 2 cards, uh, and she found them very fast.
House icons on the right are wrong. Oh, yeah, you've got the same houses for Vargas deck
Do I?
as for Sydney's deck. That's okay. We
Oh.
don't pay him or anything, so it's fine. No, it's so much work that you put into these. So like a couple things here and there we might still miss, but
Yeah, so I'm working with Snoopy because I did some Excel magic on
oh,
his data, but now Snoopy
they are the
has
same houses, so you're not
they are the
actually
same.
wrong.
See, there's nothing wrong. See, but now it's a more streamlined version because it comes straight from the source now. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think this one started out like turn one was like a clipped wings purge of one of the Amber Drakes or something like that.
something crazy, and
It is
then like
brutal.
the shard was there in the corner of the market, and it was all about the timing. And game two was more of the same.
Yeah. Game
It
two,
was pretty rough.
again,
Yeah,
cards played. This one, if I remember, there was a lot more of a disc board for Sydney. She got the
yeah.
vapor imps going, and it got bad for
The,
Vargas
the
real fast.
cauterized vitality was there, and City wasn't convinced she had the game, but yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see again, only 5 cards played total for Vargas.
Yeah, the vapor imps hit the
Brutal.
correct cards, the
Yeah,
action cards,
yeah,
all of the time. It was a bit sad to watch, but
yeah.
that's
So
what it can happen.
that one going 2-0 for Sydney, which means our new match, which will be match 25 in our top 8, Random Joe versus SC Steel. What do you think of this one?
Initially, my first guess would be on Random Joe because of the shark, the control the weaks, and the life wards. Because yeah, I don't know. Um, I think you can find the shark pretty fast or stop Sydney from playing this with Corner of the Market. Um, but then again, if Sydney gets future spots turn one in here somewhere and then turn two puts down the, it all depends on how fast you can find them.
I
Um,
I think, yeah, so Snoopy's got one piece. That Life Ward doesn't stop the lock, but I do think we saw, if you watched any of Sydney's games at Roseville this weekend, there's some really
needs
interesting
creatures.
things where, yeah, you have to have creatures on the board.
Exactly.
But Random Joe's deck has what, like 6 creatures or something, so he's not also going to make a very big board. So
No,
it'll
so,
be
so oh,
really
that's a
interesting.
detriment. You're right. Yeah.
It'll be a really interesting to hear. I think the matches might be really quick. We'll see. But I really want to hear how the practice goes for this matchup, because I think like Sydney's deck might just have enough Amber control to actually just kind of,
Really? Ooh.
I mean, like with the Infernus and stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Random Joe makes a lot of Amber, I
Makes a
think.
lot of Amber. But you have
And
to do it
Scrambler Storms,
around.
two Scrambler Storms as well.
Scrambler
It's,
Storms would be big. Yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
might. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Sydney at least has to kind of, or tries a different
yeah.
strategy to win this. But yeah, it could be tough. But again, Sydney could also get the combo early. We'll just see. I think the archiving or the clipped wings not huge, but if those hit a life ward, if they hit a control the weak from hand, just like early in the game, that can give her the
That
space
can be
to keep
huge.
it going.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unknowns in this matchup, is what I'll say. But it'll be interesting. All right, moving right along, we've got match 19, Harmed versus Gorlami. So you obviously probably practiced this matchup a little bit. I saw Gorlami's feedback
Yeah.
about practicing this matchup. What did you think coming into it?
I think when we practiced, Harm's deck had the upper hand for sure. Um, if the jar came out early, like what would you even jar? There are so many things.
Yeah,
We still don't know what the best one is. Try to figure out what the best win rate is. Try to ban different things, but the bottom line was that um, the Infernuses, if you can get rid of those with the beer guys and everything, like it was a very good chance that Harmed would win this one.
yeah.
Yeah. What was the feedback you got from Gurlami?
I think he said this was going to be a rough matchup for him.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
have to go
This
look,
was
but
not an unfavorable matchup. It could have been annoying with the double fang tubes, with the cow. Initially, you were like, "Ooh,"
yeah,
but then like it happens at the end of the turn, and then they just come back anyway.
yeah.
So
And I think Gorlami
and,
only ever got one down in any of the matches. So, um,
yeah,
match one
the
here,
cards played.
47 cards played. That's insane.
Sheesh, sheesh.
Because Gorlami's deck actually plays a lot of cards, especially if you get the auto encoder going, but it's
Yeah,
not that many in 8 turns playing 47. So Gorlami did not get any keys in this game one. Harmed, yeah, just taking control pretty
Yeah,
fast.
Booby, our guy's counter for Infernus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the second game, we're like, oh, it's in the bag because it was an insane start. But then it started slowing down and it almost got turned around, but not quite. 47 is below average for this deck.
Well, what's crazy though is how many of those are not unfathomable. Like you see 4 unfathomable cards
Yeah.
only called as a house once. Just crazy. And then game two does not look too much different. Actually, looks very the same. 27 cards for Gorlami first game, only
Didn't
26
go
this one.
unfathomable at all.
Does get a key. Gorlami does this time, but still just
Yeah.
not really able to get anything going against Harm's deck there. So Harm takes that as
39.
a.
Yeah, there go your stats, Harm. Step it up.
What are
Don't
you
win so
doing? Come on.
fast.
What's crazy is the no key cheats, which I think we're going to talk more about later. But
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah.
that's an interesting thing. So yeah, we've got Harm taking the victory there. Match 20, we've got Fakey versus Rodion. So this is again one of our highlight matches. Interesting match, but this is, to me, this is the matchup that Worlds Collide was basically designed for. Right at the time that Worlds Collide came out, the Coda was just going crazy with the rush, even in Archon, right? And so the Infernuses and stuff, the wards, a lot of it was kind of just built to counter Coda rush.
Yeah, it was very tricky for Rodion because he couldn't really discard cards because they get purged. So he had to chain himself, and then yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough one.
I mean, the library access can be, again, an OTK if it lines up, but there's so much handcrafting that's needed. And like you said, you can't handcraft as well when you have to care about Infernuses coming down every turn.
No. The nep seeds were there, but they got removed at the right time as well. So yeah.
So game one, we do see Fakey taking that. Cards played. All right, Harmed. you've got a competitor here, or you might be the competitor now. 88 cards played by Fakey here. That's insane. In 9 turns.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's averaging almost 10 cards a turn.
88.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Total Amber 33. And again, we saw in the highlights, Fakey's deck just making a really big board of Star Alliance. I think this first game was where he was able to get the Val down right away and bounce Val, which means you get 2 house cheats just off of Val, which is a weird way that rule works. But if Val leaves the board and then enters again, you get another house cheat from Val's effect.
Interesting.
Which is why this was my highlight, because like getting the Kirby's and stuff is cool, but getting a Val double play is just, it's awesome, and it's not something you see very often. Rodion not getting any keys there, in stark contrast to game 2, where Rodion was able to do what this deck can do, which is the basically single turn OTK with the library access and then the battle fleets going off.
Turn 4.
Yeah, 30 Amber, only 15 cards played. All 3 key cheats going out. So yeah, there's not many decks that can handle that happening on turn 4, right?
No,
Kirby with
and I know people have been saying you need to win on turn 2 or 3 in Alliance, but this was a fast win. It's turn 4. It's an interesting trend that we see.
Unfortunately, Rodion not able to replicate that in match 3. Fakey being able to do the Star Alliance thing again, really taking control of the board, doing all the bouncing stuff.
Yeah.
What do we say?
Even Bornate hitting something terrible, I think, was either
really?
Battlefleet or Key Abduction.
Yeah. Only 52 cards this time, but
only 52.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And then
11 cards in this, 0 times called.
Yeah, only 6 turns this game though, instead of the 9 we saw last game.
Yeah,
or in the first game. So yeah, Fakey taking
so
that
fast
one.
On Ember as well, pretty much.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty big Star Alliance board faster in that game, so just able to reap out, kind of close it out. So Fakey taking that one 2-1. All right, match 26. This is going to be those 2 winners. We've got Harmed versus Fakey, and I was asking if they had played each other in Worlds last season or last year, and it sounds like they did not. Um, but yeah, this will be quite the clash, I think. These are two very good, very competitive players, and it'll be really interesting.
It will be interesting. And what Captain Gill says, the game one Rodion wild wormhole into his key abduction. That sucks.
That
That
is very
really
unfortunate.
sucks. But
That's
this matchup, um, we've seen Harmed dealing with Infernuses really well to his own advantage. The question is, can he do it again?
Can you do it again? I'm trying to think of what the differences were between that one and this deck. I think the Star Alliance board is a little bit different, right?
Yeah, but BR Geist on Come Officer Kirby
Yeah,
is also quite
it's very
annoying.
good.
Um, I don't know which actions you would want to do from Star Alliance. It is not Star Alliance. It'd be unfathomable though. It's not that great now that I think about it, probably. But
Yeah.
some interesting BR Geist targets in this matchup. It's gonna be, I don't know. Um, we may have been practicing,
Oh,
may not, maybe.
Harm says they
But
did play in Worlds.
no, they did.
Yeah, in
Ah,
top eight. Okay.
I didn't remember.
Fake
What
explained.
happened?
Were you both on
No,
BryoCalp in that one? I
it
feel like
was a different build, right? That Fakey brought. It was
I,
not this deck.
I remember you both talking about BryoCalp and then the I think it was Donkey Forge deck before we got in that morning. But anyways, yeah, this will be a really interesting matchup. I think it is a little bit tough for Fakey because as we've seen, Harm's deck can just go real fast and control really well. But I think if Fakey gets a Star Alliance board early and can do a lot of
Yeah,
warding and
Mr.
stuff.
Myers. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is the missile? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah,
Ah, I
that's
think I might have been watching that game, actually.
you
Yeah,
beat him to get into
it's
top
all
eight, but he
coming
also
back.
made
It's
top eight.
coming
Yeah,
back to me now. It was a very long game, even though it looked like to be over, but a very long game. Yeah.
you were so stressed over there. I remember that now. All right, let's get back to our matches from this week. Match 21, we had Rupescale, Rupescale, Rupescale,
Repiscal, I don't
Rupescale,
know. I'm just going with
um,
Repiscal.
Spanish player versus Aviator. Uh, yeah, this is
Mars versus Mars.
Mars versus Mars. Mars logos
The
versus
funny
Mars
thing is
logos.
that there was almost no, virtually no Amber control in Repiscal's deck. So before the analysis, we're like, okay, they both finish around turn 5 or 6. So whoever gets there first. The only Amber control was the Mind Warper with like action creature captures one from its own side. Like that's never gonna stick. So it's just like pumping Amber and let's see, you
Yeah,
know?
and Aviator's deck making just tons of amber once it gets the Mars going.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, game one, we did see Rupescal come away with a victory here, getting the key cheats. I don't remember if this was a full, yeah, it was, I guess, a full turn OTK
Yeah,
right when he needed
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. It was exactly when he needed it, and he got it. So
Yeah, only playing 24 cards though, just rookie numbers there, but
yeah, so bad. So
only
bad.
generating 60 amber also. Just
What?
crazy amounts of amber, especially by turn
Is that
6.
maybe an anomaly in the discounted key abduction? I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe.
We did see a ton of Mars cards getting played by Aviator there, but just not quite getting to check fast enough to stop.
Yeah, 42 from key abduction. There you
Yeah,
go.
Rupus game. Okay, that's fair. Game 2, though, we see going to Aviator. So turn 5. So the game before this ended, start basically turn 6 for
Yeah.
Rupuscow, and then Aviator getting to check and winning on turn 5. So one turn before
Yeah, so
Rupuscow was able to get
Repiscal
it.
did try because he knew I have to go now.
Yeah.
And almost got it, but it was just not enough. It was an unfortunate draw. So really, really a close one.
Yeah.
It
And this
was
one,
great.
interestingly, not playing as much Mars on Aviator's side. This was actually a lot more with like the Geistoid and stuff going, doing just lots of. I guess there was 2 Mars turns. Wait, why is it only 4 turns there?
4 turns where?
Uh,
Uh,
house
well,
choices.
I don't know. I'll have to check. Again, this was V1. V2 is coming up
Okay,
for next.
because he won.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
he won at the start of turn 5, so he only had
Okay.
to do 4
Okay.
turns.
So
Okay,
that's
that
it.
makes sense.
It didn't call key then. Okay.
Anyways, very very fast still from this deck, which it's basically what this deck does. Is it plays a lot of cards and gets a lot of amber. Game 3, we see very similar. Both players playing for I guess a 7-turn game here, a little bit longer, but 38 cards and 30 cards. But Aviator getting out just in front of Rupescow again. I think both of these games, Rupescow was like had like if like one more turn and he's able to key abduction, right? Is I think how both
Yeah,
of these
there
games
was a little
felt.
bit of a debate if he could have waited one more turn.
Oh yeah, I remember that on this last game. He
Probably,
tried to combo
but
maybe one turn before he did because
yeah,
Aviator forged 2 turns in succession, right? So 6 and 7
yeah,
he forged, and I think
yeah.
Rupescow tried to combo after Aviator had forged first key. So, but that's tough, you know. You don't know. Yeah, you kind of got to get stuff back under control, or if like it you can't find the combo,
Yeah,
you have to
there
have
was
some
a
other
there was a net
answers.
speed on the board, and there was a way for Aviator to maybe get rid of the nap seed there,
Oh, gotcha.
um, and then probably thought he had it, but yeah.
Yeah,
So it was a tough call.
yeah. So we see Aviator taking the win on that one. Match 22, we've got XKIX versus JDG 314. Man, this is one of those brutal ones, and this is something I think all week we've been talking about how much more important artifact control feels in Alliance versus what we saw in Archon. And I think Archon, you maybe just see it naturally a little bit more, but in Alliance, you're just finding those pods so much to make your game plan work, and then you run into something like JDG's deck, and you're just like, what do I
Yeah,
do against this?
and it's also three of them, right? So
Yeah,
again, that was challenging. I think put up quite a good fight though, uh, surprisingly.
yeah.
Uh,
So I mean, you really want to try and get your Mars going as fast as possible before the
yeah,
Quixel stones come down, and then after that,
one of the three.
you just need to use your Geistoid and try and loop it as much as possible because that's where your most
Yeah,
amber generation is going to be, right? But we do see JDG taking it down and some longer games here, but only playing 50 cards. Come on, JDG. See those 88, 16 turn game. You know how many cards Fakey was going to play in 16
yeah.
turns?
It was zero
Be
two, but
200.
still, I think that both of them were a lot closer than
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be. So well played by
Yeah.
XKEX.
We see XIX getting 2 keys in this game, getting up to 22 amber, but
Yeah,
JDG just able to close it out right in the end there. I think JDG was able to get the Mindfire loop going in this one. I'm trying to remember. But I believe he did get the full deck in hand. Yeah, the rule of 6 Mindfire, which is a very interesting one. Rookie number says not. That's right. You tell him. Game 2 looks very similar. Ended a little bit faster. I think JG just found stuff, found the autoencoder maybe a little bit faster, and was just able to get it closed out. What's interesting is with the autoencoder, we still only see 12 cards discarded from JG. So just able to kind of really be very efficient with how he's doing some of that stuff and get stuff going. But yeah, XKIX unfortunately not able to quite get stuff going before those 3 Quixel Stones came down and slowed him. So we see JDG 314 taking that one, and now we talked before about the nightmare matches. Match
yeah.
27, we have Aviator versus JDG 314, and I
I
believe,
think it's Aviator's Nightmare's
yeah,
most feared opponent. So this is
JDG,
Nightmare number one born. Um, let's see if the fear is valid.
yeah. And why? I mean,
Might be, might be very valid.
they're both West Coast players, so I think they kind of maybe have run into each other a little bit more, anyways. Uh, but knowing how Aviator's deck plays, I think this is also going to be
There is
could be a rough
R.
matchup. There's
There's
R.
two of them. There is a remote access which doesn't do anything against the Quixel Stone. And then there is destroy them all. So you would imagine that the jar might hit the destroy them all,
Yeah. Or it
but
just,
we'll
if the destroy them all only hits one thing, gets purged by the Infernus after that, like you know, it's
could be.
tough.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Amber Pips in Aviator's deck too, so that Infernus recurring could do some stuff.
If I had to put money on this, I'd put it on JDG. But if you're trying to win the predictions game, I would not listen to me because
I would only bet my life
no, no,
savings
no,
on it, but don't listen
that,
to
that's
me.
right. No, no. I've done all right. I've done all right, but I'm not
Yeah.
competing, so
I mean, we know things like Geistoid with junk restoration and stuff. You can still have very fast, efficient turns without playing creatures in both, like in Amber Sky's decks and stuff. Like, so there is a possibility there for Aviator. But the thing with JG's deck is the 3 Quixel Stones make it so consistent.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
there's
right.
just, you have to assume there's going to be one down by turn 2 or 3, just every time
Yeah,
you're playing against this deck. And that just changes how you play this so much. So like the time traveler, just, do you save space for it or do you just go for something else? It's
it's going to
tough.
be very challenging. Yeah,
And then the mark of this is to, I guess Aviator doesn't play too many creatures that are bigger than 2
a
power.
lot of two power creatures. Yeah,
And it's not hard for you to just kind of keep to that. But yeah, it's going to be a tough match, I think, for Aviator, but we'll
it's
see.
only like 2 matches to be discussed, and then the final matchup, right? And then that was this round, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see.
All right. Match 23. We've got Donkey Forge versus Dr. Sheep. Yeah, this is a really interesting one for Donkey Forge because he is basically playing his deck against his deck.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think Sheep had hands that could have won turn 3 in game 2,
Mm,
maybe turn 4 or 5, but those pesky Kaup, Braille, like it all lined up for Donkey Forge quite early in the game. Um, so if we look at the stats, I'm not sure what we'll see. Yeah,
yeah.
so 11 turns for Donkey Forge and only 7 for Sheep. Like that's no fair. Um, but
I mean,
it was actually
to the
it was very
layperson,
close.
you would want to know how that's even possible, but you should go watch the
Yeah,
match to find out because
yeah,
it's very
exactly.
unique how the deck works.
Yeah. No, there was a close game in the second game. Sheep's hand. It was the nuts as we call it, but Calvin Brio just said no, 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 no.
Yeah,
And then a taunt was there, and then no, 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 no. Yeah,
yeah, and
very
then
unfortunate for Sheep, but put up a nice showing. Yeah.
yeah, and then game 2 looks very similar, a little bit faster. Not even, I think this one he just got to check really fast, didn't he? He didn't
Oh,
even
oh yeah, there
really.
was a lot of Ember big board. Like I said,
Yeah,
the lock came down with the Brio and Kaup and it just reaped
yeah,
out pretty much every turn.
yeah. So
So
not even really having to do the infinite turns on this one,
no,
just able to kind of,
no,
yeah,
yeah.
close it out. So unfortunate for Dr. Sheep there, but we got it. And yeah, no concedes that time. So we got your stats, Snoopy. Sheep will probably have words with you if you ever meet him in person.
They
But
said, "Do I have to play this out? Do you want to play this out?" They're like, "Yes, for the stats." I'm like, boring. Like, yeah, sorry.
all right. So the winner, either way, the winner was going to be Donkey Forge, but in this one, it is the person, not just the Donkey Forge deck. Uh, Sheep, of
Yeah,
course,
but
playing
but
past
Sheep got
seals,
his
but
revenge by winning sealed, so
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah.
Maybe he didn't have spent brain capacity on the final refrain and was able to win sealed like Dave. That was the next level strats actually.
2 keys forged with the Persephone. Were there actually?
Yeah, true. 2 keys with
That's,
Persephone.
I
That's
told
true.
you, it's the best card in the
Can
deck.
you go back once because it should be forged for 4? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Donkey
Yeah.
Forge also taking advantage of that, it looks like.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
There you go. It's
I
the
think
most
he
important, and
BRKised it
also you
for
should never play it.
best card.
All right, and this is our last match, right? From this week,
I think
match
so. This is the
24.
last
We've
match.
got Pomona
Yeah.
Doce versus Damat. All right, so this matchup, again, going into this, I expected the Quixelstone to be, if it got down, to be pretty
Mm.
impactful. Game 1, Quixelstone was down by turn 2, and it just did not matter.
But what is there any
I mean,
R on the mod stack? No, right?
there
No.
is the let's see, this is
Spontaneous
animating.
waking.
No,
Oh,
which one is it? Poltergeistoids? No, there's one
which
of
is
them. The one that just takes it and put it on your side.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, that is
so it doesn't get,
animating force.
yeah, it doesn't get rid of the Quixel Stone, but again, so I mean, it definitely slowed Damat down a little bit
You
for
can
Pomona
fight
Dolce to
into it.
get some. No, it's not a creature. It's still a spontaneous awakening. There's 3 different
Is that
cards.
the one?
There's like poltergeistoids. There's Spontaneous Awakening, and then whatever the one you said is Animating Force. Like I get all those three confused all the time. Drives me nuts. Because Poltergeistoids doesn't
But animating force is the one that puts it on your flank with full
as a
power.
creature, yeah. Spontaneous
Yeah.
Awakening, basically you just get to replay the artifact as your artifact
So
in
that's
place
the one he
type.
has.
So it's a lot better for like Jar, because you get to actually rename a card. But whereas Spontaneous
Mhm.
Awakening, it just moves to your flank. But didn't matter. I don't even think it got played in this matchup because it doesn't really do anything against Quicksilstone anyways, because it's still in play. But yeah, Pomona Doce does get to 2 keys here because he was able to slow down Damat a bit, but it just wasn't enough. Damat just able to change game plans, and the rogue operations especially just doing so much work in this matchup, just stealing so much against Pomona's deck, which just wasn't moving quite as fast as I think it needed to in terms of the Amber generation. And then game 2, pretty similar story, except that Quixelstone didn't come out as early, so Damat able to just
Yeah.
do more of what he wanted to, which made it
Still 2 keys forged.
yeah,
It's
yeah, still 2 keys forged, but yeah, just unfortunate there for Pomona Doce. But Damat taking it and again showing why he's world champion. So then we've got new match 28, Donkey Forge versus Damat. This is going to be an intense match also.
it will be, and I think Donkey Forge's most feared opponent is Harmed, mainly because he's a good player, but also because of the deck he's playing. And Damat is very close to that deck.
Yeah.
They're very similar. So it's a half nightmare. Uh,
So I mean,
half nightmare matchup.
this is where the
Yeah.
spontaneous awakening is more impactful because you can't like
Yeah.
if you're Damat, you could just take the Tachyon manifold and it just changes the whole game,
Ooh,
right? So
we
you have to be so careful when you're playing that as Donkey Forge. But Donkey Forge again, like both of these decks have tools outside of their main game plan to still do stuff. So
That's true. That's true.
does Donkey Forge deck have artifact
So
control?
he can be safe if he's not haunted himself, right? But there's booze on Damat.
Well, but he's
Uh,
also got the 2 bonded auctioneers and
you're
Zava.
asking if Donkey Forge has R?
The auctioneers can bounce it back. Yeah, so he does have ways of
There's
getting it
a lot of
back.
there's a lot of ways to
Yeah,
bounce and do with some things with artifacts on
yeah.
Donkey Forge. Yeah,
But also both decks having the Brio Cow lockout, right? Like it's kind of who's going to get that figured out first.
yeah.
How do you play
It's
around
almost like
that?
it's a good combo. You know?
Well of Memory on Donkey Forge's side versus the Island of Misfit Toys. But does Donkey Forge have a way to steal the island? Because that can
No,
also be scary
I
for.
don't think so.
Okay,
But I'll double check that. Harm probably knows by heart, but
I don't know. That's going to
there's
be.
a way to steal. It's putting it back to hand and delaying it.
I mean, that still is helpful, especially if they're close to flipping the deck. You can force them to wait. Um, this is probably going to be one of my favorite matches to watch. I can't wait to see this one. There's a lot of interesting ones, but this is going to be intense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
intense. So very excited for that. All right, we made it through. Only
We
40
made it.
minutes.
Only 40 minutes.
Actually, it's been longer than that because we start before
Ah,
hour, but that's okay.
anyway.
So let's take a
Anyway.
look at our bracket here. So we had again the 8 matches, 16 players, down to our top 8 players. 4 matches coming up this week between Random Joe and Essie Steele, Harmed and Fakey, Donkey Forge and Damat, and then Aviator versus JDG. Man, it's so good. I'm so excited for this. Those are going to be some crazy games.
Yeah, and all of them will be playing for a chance to win the final prize, obviously, which I think will show the pricing after this, won't we?
Yeah. So here's our top 8
Actually,
players again, just for your viewing pleasure.
yeah. And at least if you win, you get an Ember Skies deck sealed. So
Mhm.
the pricing is now there are prizes on the line. There were
Yeah.
obviously, of course, but now it's you know that if you go one slide further, then
Yeah.
yeah. So the one more win guarantees a Ember Sky Seal deck,
Mhm.
and then if you win again, it's at least a display,
Yeah.
and if you win the whole thing, again,
This insane
insane.
prize.
If you go one slide further, then you'll see it in full glory. It's the travel reimbursement ticket to a GG Alliance event, which, yeah, still we're so grateful to our anonymous donor
Yeah.
that this is happening. So
A lot of stakes, and
um,
we're just gonna feel those stakes ramp up in these next games.
yeah.
Like it's getting so close now, you can almost taste it.
Oh, I almost forgot to do something.
Uh-oh. Do
But
I need to exit the thing and come back
no,
in?
no, no. We need pricing for the predictions. We need to also do a raffle
Ooh.
there. Oh,
So our predictions
um,
have pretty good pricing. Are you setting something up? Do I need to talk over you while you do that?
y-
Or
well, you can copy the names from the sheet of the Final Refrain Alliance. I'll send it to you, and then put that in the wheel of names.
oh, we need to do the wheel for that too? Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, we do a raffle, let's say every week. I think Grish Hammer won a Vaultmaster 2025 last week, and it will be coming to him at Gen Con, I believe. That's how the logistics worked out. Um, so that is actually happening. But just by voting, you do have a chance to um, be winning something. Meanwhile, I'm trying to send Orion the link of all the players that have voted so far or that are on the scoreboard, let's say. Um, and we'll do a raffle for a VM deck. We'll reveal who's leading soon, and the winner of the predictions will also get to win a sealed Ember Skies display, and the second place will get a sealed Ember Skies deck. So hopefully, we will get that wheel set up as well for this, and we can try to raffle it out, and maybe we can go one sheet further so I can talk about the standings while you try to fix my. So this was the standing before, and one further is the new standings. The sheet is open for viewing again, and um, it looks like Grishhammer, besides winning a Vaultmaster deck in the raffle, is also leading with Harmed close at his heels with 41 points, Motility 5, 41, and a bunch of people in the 38 to 40-ish range. So, yeah,
Let me see.
it's anyone's game still because each round that we go further, the predictions will yield more points. So technically, you can still gain 16 points, I think it is this week. And the top eights have not been calculated here, by the way. The top eights have not been added to this thing. So if you know you've got 7 right, they will still be added. But Orion, you're a genius. The wheel is here, as I can see, and everyone that has voted should be in the wheel. If Grishhammer pops up again, um, then we'll just spin it again. Right?
Does this look correct? I'll just take Grisham out.
I think it looks correct.
77.
77 people. This sounds right to me. Um, so
All right.
yeah,
So we're gonna spin this
let's do it.
five
Yeah.
times. Awesome. Ready?
No, there's one time
One
for
time.
this
Okay.
week. So that will be number 2.
Everyone
So
gets
one,
decks.
you're like Oprah. You're Orion, not Oprah. Okay,
I
don't
feel like
mix them
that's Riku. All right, Riku's the one throwing decks at everybody.
up.
All right, we ready for our
Ooh, yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah,
spin
yeah,
of
yeah,
the random
yeah.
winner of a
I
deck
don't like
here?
those odds. Yeah, 1 in 77. It's
That's
not
pretty
great,
big.
but it's something for just clicking a button. What? Who is it?
Conticali.
It's gonna go to Italy. So Conticali has won a deck. Let me send him a message.
Very nice. Congrats, Conticali.
I'll mute myself for.
So again, that's going to be is that a Vaultmaster deck, or we change that to a Vaultmaster 25 deck?
That's a Vaultmaster 25 deck, and we know
And
how spicy they can be. So,
they're so spicy. So
um,
I don't know if y'all were watching the Vault Tour this weekend. They've also brought
mm,
a Vaultmaster 25 for Archon, but because he wanted to play Alliance, he dropped out at 2-1 and didn't get to see how far that deck could go. But it's a crazy deck. It's so cool. Like that set is doing some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's something. I am looking forward to getting my own. So yeah. So there you got it, the prediction standings. But now, this is something I'm quite excited about. It's the challenger matches. Last week we introduced the concept, and if you don't know, pretty much the people that get eliminated round one still have a chance to play for something. But not only those people, people that are watching, interacting with the stream, active in the Discord, they can be a challenger and submit their deck and alliance and have a chance to play against one of those players and compete for a Ember Skies sealed deck. So we have some challengers and players. The challengers for this week, we've got 4, and for next week, I've already got 3. I think we're looking for one
Oh,
more,
nice.
maybe. Bear, Easy Galena, Motility 5, and Strawman. Those are our challengers, and the players that have made themselves available to be challenged are Dave C, um, Falter Winner now, Rentalong, Mark H, X Joni X, Panic, and Donuts Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be playing these matches somewhere this week. They will be streamed.
Yeah.
I've got some graphics for all of them. I just need, we're going to spin the wheel 4 times to generate these matchups. And then I'll try to
Perfect.
make the matchups as soon as I can and try to get the graphics uh, on there. So
We'll give you
we're
time.
predicting these two. I'm not sure if we're predicting these two because let me know if you want them to be predicted. Um,
I don't know if we have pricing for the predictions, but we can still put predictions up, is how we should say that.
yeah, but if they're going to count with the main thing, you know, so I'm not sure.
We'll let
Yeah,
you know.
we'll let you know.
We'll
So
talk
there's
about it.
always next week. That's about. If you want next week, you can put your name up. That's fine. So the opponent of the first in line, it's Bear, right?
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
spinning for Bear. Bear's opponent will be. Don't panic. Don't
Oh,
panic.
it's so close. Panic.
So Panic will be Bear's opponent. There you have it. That's game number 1.
Awesome.
And then our second challenger, Easy Galena, will be facing off versus. Oh, Italian feud? No. Oh, Dave C.
So
Okay.
close there.
There we
This
go.
might just
That
be a
was
practice
close.
match for them, right?
Oh no, it is a rent along. Really?
Yeah. It was so
Okay.
close.
Well,
Uh,
so it is an Italian feud. Okay.
yeah.
Well, Easy Galena. There you have it. And then our third player is Motility 5. Stayed awake all this time for this moment. He wants to go to sleep, but he's still here.
All right. This one should be easy to see.
Let's
This will be
go,
Donuts
Donuts
Dad.
Dad. So Donuts Dad versus Motility 5. Second Dutch opponent for Donuts Dad.
Oh, I didn't know
Hopefully for him it
Motility
goes
5
better than the
was
first one, but
Dutch. That's fun to know.
yeah.
All right. So our last one
And
is going to
then
be our very
is
own new caster,
yeah,
Strawman.
Strawman, indeed.
Going to play against. I'll laugh so hard if it's Dave.
That's gonna be Joni,
It's going to be
I think.
Joni. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna do some magic while you talk about Bear's deck, and hopefully I get those in quick.
Okay. Let me move on here. So challenge 1, like we said, we've got Bear bringing a TOC Thrall deck. We already saw one Thrall deck in this tournament. Didn't quite make it. Right? There was one. Wasn't there a Thrall deck? Maybe it was a different
I
TOC deck.
think there was
I thought
one,
there was
and
one.
it played against Keyforge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not a great matchup, unfortunately. But this one looks pretty nasty. We do have double mark of this, the Beyond All Gateway and or Beyond All Darkness and Gateway.
Ah, it was
And the
against Sheep. Sorry, it was against
oh.
Sheep. Yeah.
Oh, Siths, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Double Forsaken. So no, it's just interesting. There's so many different choices you have to make with this house. Double Forsaken, no Amasser, but with a Dance of Doom, you can just choose 2 as the power and wipe out all of your thralls without taking out anything else. And if the Forsakens are on the board, you get to basically refill your whole board. We do have the Hymn to Duma there, the Redemption House as well, and the Martyr's End. So multiple ways there to kill your own thralls. So lots of ways to kill your thralls. Are there enough thralls on the board? Like, can you make enough? Is always the other trick with these decks. Like, they can be really good, but they can be very tricky to actually get things set up. We do have the Forgotten Guardian for some purging, double unnatural selection, gonna do some board control there. What do we have for token generation? So Beyond All Darkness with the Gateway can make a good amount. We do have the Obsidian Forge, which kind of makes it repeatable once you have the Forsakens down. Havoc and Gate Warden are making some. Yeah, the Martyr's End in there is really cool. That's a nice way to do it. Swift Induction is going to make some. Admirable Neophyte, Vindication Outpost. That one does make a token, but it kills it right away because it fights. Intrepid Exemplar. Okay, so a few more in Redemption. Massing at Midnight's making some. So yeah, it's interesting. First to Last in Redemption has been pretty clutch.
I am still making a matchup. So maybe you can look at the other decks, but give me a second. Something is
Yeah.
I'll get it working, don't worry.
Let's see, what else do we got here? It does have the Key Frog, so 2 key cheats that we can actually see in here. So the Key Frog, and then what's the other one? Oh yeah, the Obsidian Forge, which Obsidian Forge you usually don't use as the key cheat as much as just destroying your thralls, but always there if you need it if their opponent doesn't have any amber or artifact control. All right, let's take a look at Easy Galina's deck here. Man, Winds of Exchange deck, double lateral shift, corner the market, talent scout. This is also, I believe, a scholar deck. So we've got 2 legionary trainers. We've got Amphora. I mean, this thing is hitting you from all sides. Double plunder are going to be discarding some cards. You've got the Adult Swim for some creature control. Double generous offer. Yeah, this thing looks pretty disruptive, but also going to draw.
And we're all good with the matchups, by the way.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah, so we can go.
Except I have to.
Oh, you have to stop the slideshow and then.
Please pause for technical difficulties.
Yes. Some muzak, as we call it in the Netherlands. So elevator music. Some loading music.
All right.
Do the loading thingy.
It's always what is it? Oh wait, what? Oh, that's the wrong one. The Jeopardy theme song in the US.
So I think these should be correct, like I generated just now, but it should be good.
All right.
So yeah. Panic Bear. -1 efficiency. Thrall versus a Dark Discovery. I don't know.
Yeah, this is tough. Trying to remember. So Panic does have the archiving, which is a very good way of getting around thralls. If you can archive the right stuff, you can kind of just really repeat that a little bit to keep yourself in it, especially with an Append Seed. I don't think there was artifact control on Bear's side, but I'd have to look closer. I don't think I saw like a reclaimed or anything.
There's a Mollymog. And I think
oh yeah, there is a Mollymog, yeah.
Since the stat is not there, if there were any art cards, I think I put them in the graphic this time. So the Mollymog is there.
There's so many interesting things because any token deck is also going to be tokenizing stuff, so it's going to cycle faster, which can make it harder to get the Dark Discovery. There is purging in Bear's deck with the Forgotten Guardian. So you could purge the Dark Discovery before Panic is even able to use it, maybe. And then the Mark of Dis, I think, is really going to be what's tricky. If Panic
first or last is also interesting indeed.
Yeah. What does the creature control on Panics look like? I don't remember. I guess it does have the Mimicry, which can hit. The first or last would be really big to hit with that.
Or the Gateway.
Or the Gateway. Or the 2 unnatural selections. So that Mimicry is going to be pretty big, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting matchup, though. Some disruption on both sides, but
for sure.
I think that could be a little bit rough for Panic. We'll see. All right, we were talking about Easy Galina's deck here, which is also nasty looking. So
it's
disruptive.
Very nasty. It's very nasty.
Miss that it also has the Amphora Captura with exchange program, so you have the chance of just loading a creature up and sending that Amber over to the other side of the board. Yeah, this is hitting you from all angles. The Unfathomable, I think, has the lateral shift, has the corrode, a little bit less great on some of the creatures, although like you don't mind things that are making tokens and stuff. So but so much is about like sorry and early with those legionary trainers to just draw half your deck, then just disrupt the crap out of your opponent after that.
Hopefully, I also got all of those cards in the graphic. Let's see.
Oh my goodness. There's so many.
There was so many cards I had to take. I was like, oh. Yeah.
Oh man.
Is this gonna be? Well, the lateral shift can mess things up.
Yeah.
If you lateral shift a battle fleet, that's awkward.
Or if you lateral shift a
Can't control the
control the
weak.
weak,
Talent Scout Restringantus.
Restringuntus, or you could lateral shift the Restringuntus, right? You can play creatures with that too,
Or
not
you
just actions.
plunder until they discard a Mars card.
This could be
Mm.
this will be really interesting. I think a lot of it's going
I
to depend on how
think I
fast the
think
scholars
Easy
get out.
Galena won the store championship, and I'm not sure if Arentalon was playing there.
Mm,
And the store championship was pretty much one of the biggest tournaments in Italy then. Uh, yeah.
yeah, this is
Wow.
interesting.
Have,
So
have
something
fun
like
casting this one, whoever is going to do it.
Corner of the Market can actually be dangerous against a Battlefleet deck because it gives your opponent just an easy way to archive
Oh yeah,
cards that they want
yeah, yeah, yeah.
archived, basically. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
And for a Captura won't do a lot there, but
All right,
number 3.
Utility 5.
Maybe we just go to the
Yikes.
comparison and then go back to the yeah.
uh,
Um,
Yikes.
versus Donuts that the
Yeah.
Martian
So
Generosity Sting.
Martian Generosity Sting, which I don't. Let's see. I don't know if there's artifact control except for the Strange Gizmo on Motility 5s. I don't know if there was a we could actually see here. There is a Cauterize.
I
So
can
there is a
check.
chance to get rid of let's see, is
Yeah,
there
the
also
Sting.
a
One of
yeah,
the Stings at least.
one of the stings. But I think that artifact or archiving hate with the Titan Sentry could be really big. With I mean it's not
Yeah,
it doesn't do a ton of archiving, but
but the break though, and then Redline. Well, it doesn't
yeah.
really matter. The stealing won't so much do it. Maybe I
Well,
don't
so
know.
I think the issue I'm trying to remember Donut's dad's match round 1 of this tournament, he just wasn't able to get the early sting because I think it was all it was
Mm.
like a lockout or something, right? So it just like
But
his opponent's deck didn't care.
yeah, a well timed or lucky uh, um, was a clipped wings,
Yeah.
purging the key abduction or Martian generosity. That
The
would be sick.
the disruption could be really nasty. The sting could work against you if it just gets redlined right away after you forge. So this could be a tough one.
Yeah,
But Donut's dad's deck has that possibility
no
if you
favorite
do
here.
give it the
No obvious
amber.
favorite
Yeah,
in any
Donut's
case.
dad's deck can just win in one turn if you give it the amber. And then
Yeah.
the Merkins can be nasty too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Donuts that play
Play
Donkey
against
Forge and
Donkey
Donkey
Forge.
Den generally. Yeah, indeed. You're right.
All right, and then our
The
last
last
match,
challenge, Strawman.
Strawman versus Exjonia X. So I'm a little disappointed because Strawman was telling me all about his Thrall build the whole time we were casting that match, and
No, it's the fluctuating well
instead,
of dimensions. Yeah.
I would say this looks pretty nasty. It does have the Missile Officer Myers multi-dimensional rescue. Missile Officer Myers, of course, being eroded now, but has the Cease
Yeah.
Forge, has the Well of Memory, double market
Again, a
fluctuations.
Cease Forge for Joni? Dang.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Matchup for her again. Especially with the 2 bonded auctioneers to be able to get that stuff back. The Well of Memory
Yeah,
going to be able to
indeed.
get stuff back. This looks like a pretty nasty alliance here. Let's take a look a little bit closer. Yeah, I mean Island of
Yeah,
Misfit
it's
Toys
very
and
efficient.
Well.
The Grizzly Exchange, the double market fluctuations. I've got a double market flux deck, and I was also thinking along those lines, but the Grizzly Exchange makes it a lot better. And then it would have finished it if it was like a Zavel or
Mhm.
something with a Well of Memory where you could just get the market flux or something back. But this is pretty scary.
Yeah, and this is the kind of deck where it's like until you see it played, there might be something in there that you don't know how it works or like how good it can be or how like if you can create like a cycle with it. So very interested to see how
Yeah,
that one goes.
for those that don't know, Strawman is one of our new casters, but also is setting up a alliance league
Yeah.
of his own. So maybe more info on that after the tournament's finished. But yeah, cool matchup.
Yeah.
And all of these will be playing for an Amber Sky sealed deck. So the winners they'll be playing for, so all matches that are going to be played, all 8, the winner will at least win an Amber Sky sealed deck.
Yeah.
So the streaks are high this week. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into
what you've all been waiting for, right? Yeah.
Oh, I guess before we do the statistics, I guess this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
more of the statistics.
Statistics included, yeah.
So here's our player map. Again, we had lots of North America in this one, then lots of EU here with some other scattered players. And then after round 1, we were down to this. And now after round 2, all of anyone south of the equator is now unfortunately taken out. I still got 5 NA and then 3 EU players here.
Yeah.
See our teams. This one's always brutal to watch. People just slowly drop off. Lots of rebound on rebound violence, but lots of other things going on here. But after
the Netherforce Lions and housekeeping still intact.
Yeah, those two teams came here to play Lions.
Only one.
About team for how do you say that one?
Which one? Sforgiati?
Yeah. Yeah. But some of those bigger teams, teams with more representation, definitely trimming down fast here. But yeah, congrats to Netherforge Lions and Housekeeping. So what'd you say their name was? Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is a really interesting one. I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, the sets. Like people have been saying or discussing, is Alliance more inclusive? Let's say it's a nice theme, inclusiveness. With the sets that we have, I think it is. So if we go down 1, it'd be around 2. And
I mean, that's a pretty good spread already compared to what we had in Archon. It was still over half GR and then the rest. This is less than half is GR for sure in this one.
Yeah. Now. And then here, still pretty good. Still pretty good, I'd say. Still 3 GR.
Yeah.
All of them running a Bio Calp.
It's almost like that one Worlds or something. Like it's a really good build.
All of them are running a Bio Calp.
Wasn't hit by the restricted list for some reason. But
yeah. And 2 Ember Skies, a Coda, Worlds Collide, and a I always forget whatever that is. Mass Mutation.
Yeah, Mass Mutation. Yeah. So again, what's missing here? We didn't have any Vault Masters come into this one.
No.
Winds of Exchange.
Vault Master 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Winds of Exchange had 1 Scholar.
Yeah, that didn't quite make it. Tokens.
AOA was Donut's dad.
Yeah. So some sets getting knocked out, but especially seeing this much variety still is very fun.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Now the part you've all been waiting for.
Now the party. Yeah.
We've got the trivia. And so unfortunately, you and I have both seen the answers to these, so I can't.
Well, I have seen my half, and you have seen your half, right?
That's true.
Maybe you went through all of them.
But, I didn't really pay attention, so I might not even remember who did or what the answers are to these. So we'll find out together. Which deck has forged the most keys? So that'd have to be one that played,
I think,
2-1 both matches at least, probably, right?
Has to be B.
Oppression?
I think Random Joe played the most games.
Yeah.
But wrong.
Which deck is the Mafioso? I should have put the player names next to these. Mafioso that locks you up. Yeah, I think most of the lockout ones had some.
So Mars is Aviator, Oppression's Random Joe, Mafioso locks you up is the mod.
Aviator was.
I don't see all answers.
Yeah, I think it's probably B also. Oh.
So did you make the same mistake as I did, that there were maybe more than 3 options for some of them?
No, I got that in there, but this one.
Okay, good. Yeah.
This one we just were wrong.
So Mars. Okay.
Did he play all 3 matches this round?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mafias. Okay, that's good to know, because we'll probably see that one come up again. The 15 keys.
Yeah, I know most of the names, I think.
Yeah. That makes sense, though. Obviously, no matter what, that deck is making a lot of amber, so it's going to forge some keys.
Yeah.
Which deck played the most cards per turn in round 2?
I think we know this one.
I kind of maybe
If
gave
you
that
paid
away, but if you're
attention,
new to
this is like a
this,
test. This is like the teacher saying, "So, kids, you can leave if you get this question right. If you were paying attention, should be easy." See, says
see,
Captain Neil. Someone's best
maybe
of class, maybe.
that's not Harm's deck. Come on. Yes,
I
it
did see
was.
your note, Snoopy. I think I did it. Yeah,
Hysterical
8.5.
Purger,
Wow,
8.5 on average, having that 88 card turn
that's
or
huge.
card game. Pretty crazy.
That's more than your hand.
Yeah, by
That's pretty good.
a good amount. So yeah, the amount it beats those other decks by is a lot.
1.5 hand per turn. I love that.
All right, which
He
deck
was
had the
Keyforge against it.
yeah in round 2?
Carpe Diem is harmed. Nobody puts Baby in the corner says he's steel. And To Infinity Beyond is Donkey Forge. I think I know the answer to this one.
Ooh, that actually is tough.
I don't think so.
I remember the stats. Yeah, okay, I think I know which one it is. We got a lot of Bs. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think it's B.
Yeah, B. I believe. Yeah.
Because it was 0. Yeah. There
Sydney
you
had
go.
0 keys forged against her, which is pretty crazy. The others are still crazy. 1 and
B.
2 are still pretty big.
I had 1 key against Sydney. Sydney had
Oh,
0, I thought. Yeah.
Riku's cheating.
I casted it, I know. That was brutal, Riku.
All right. Which deck generated the most amber per turn in round 2, including key cheats?
Well then I think I know this one as well. But Mars, Aviator, Speed Abduction, Repescow, Hysterical Purger, Fakey. Again, if you were reading the chat and following along, you should be able to get this one.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm mistaken, and then my hubris is completely misplaced. Could be.
I think we talked about this one in one of the matchups, so
It got to be B, right? It's got to be Speedy Abduction.
it's got to be Speedy Abduction. Because we're including Key Abduction, I think the amber generated on one of those games, just like in the
So now is excluding key cheats is the next
60s. No.
Oh, I have a pretty good feeling on this one as well. But...
So which deck had the fastest average first key forged turn in round 2? So
is
which
it
one
Mars
is forging first
from
key the
Aviator,
fastest?
Oppression from Random Joe, or the one that returns cards? That is... Oh.
Cards.
That's Rodions, I think, with the Nep seeds.
Oh.
So saying A, B, A. I think it gotta be A. I think. That's the whole game plan.
Yeah.
Actually.
Especially since we already saw that deck has forged the most keys.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Oh, wait.
So it is A. It's
Sorry,
Mars.
the question on this confused me a sec, but yeah, it forged its first key faster in fewer turns than these other decks on average.
Yeah.
Statistics.
Yeah, sometimes it's a reading exercise. Keep you on your toes, you know?
We should put these at the beginning next time while I still have the mental capacity. Which deck had the highest check percentage in round 2?
Okay. So Calpodium is harmed. Mars Aviator. Hysterical Purger, Fakey. Mafioso Lock Show Up the Mod. I think I know who got this the first round.
It's very hard to not say it's Mars again, right? Like you'd think.
No, I think it's got to be A.
You think it's gonna be Calpodium? Highest check percentage?
It might have been a different game though this time.
I mean, Hysterical Purger we saw, especially that game 3, it was getting to check.
True.
Like 3 turns in a row. It was just kind of done by like turn 6 or something.
Was harm being taken off check every now and then? I know it was
probably not. Man, yeah, this is actually tough. B, we have Harm saying.
Let's see it.
So Harm doesn't even think it's him. It is Mars.
Oh, it's Mars.
Not even close.
Every other turn is on check.
Yeah, that's crazy. More than every other turn. By a little
The slowest first key was JDG. Of course it was.
JDG had the longest game by more than like.
Oh man.
All right, which set had the highest retention rate in rounds 1 to 2? This is interesting. Which set?
In 1 to 2.
If you're watching, we went through this pretty fast from 1 to 2.
I would think it was A.
Well, retention rate, is that going to be a percentage?
Retention. Yeah. How many mass mutations? Was Amber Skies and Mass
There
Mutation both
was
50%?
I don't know if Amber Skies was. I think
And
Mass
Worlds
Mutation and
Collide?
Worlds
Was there only
Collide
one
were
Worlds Collide? I think
D
there was two,
maybe.
no?
I thought there was two,
It
but now
might
I'm
be
trying to
A
remember.
and C. I have no idea,
Oh
actually.
yeah, Dave lost in round one, so that's one of our Worlds Collide. This is tricky.
So
I
maybe
think it's Amber Skies.
ACD.
Riku
Is
says
that
C for
possible?
Mass Mutation. No, we know we lost at least one Mass Mutation. Went from
Yeah.
3 to 2.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
50% on Amber Skies. There you go. Yeah.
interesting.
Ah,
So we lost 2 Mass Mutations. Were there even 3 Mass Mutations
Amber
in?
Skies best set. You know it is.
Did we have 3 Mass Mutations
It
entered?
must be.
Oh, Gorlami's
Yeah.
2. Yeah,
JDG had one, and Isfat had one.
and Gorlami. Yeah, so there were 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Worlds Collide, same thing. And so Amber Sky is only losing 2 of the 4.
Hmm.
Yeah, 3 originally. Interesting. Amber Sky's
Amber
best
Skies.
set. That's right, Riku. Love
Yeah.
it. All right, so with that in mind, which house had the highest retention rate in rounds 1 to 2? Which house? This one's interesting.
If you're thinking set, Equidon's also in different sets. Geistoid was a lot of Geistoid going around, so it must be eliminated.
I mean, Shadows
Shadows
is
is
the
quite
only one that's
niche.
in MM and Worlds Collide, right? So like already we're looking like it's going to be one of the newer sets.
I think it's Equidon though.
It's Equidon. Unfathomable, I feel like probably has pretty good too, considering how many Bryocalpus are still in there.
Yeah. Good one.
Geistoid is hard because it's everywhere, right? So it's like a lot of
Yeah,
them have been lost, but
that's
there's still a
true.
lot of them in. I
That's
would
true.
say for me it'd be between Equidon and Unfathomable. What shadows do we even have? Because I don't think there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah, I
Shadows
don't know.
TOC.
I see at least one.
Are there even Shadows decks left?
I see two, three. There were definitely three,
There's a couple. Yeah. I would say
four.
between A and D. We'll see. Oh, and
There
it
you go,
is
Equidon.
Equidon.
Let's
2
go.
of 4 left. So again, that's going to be Sydney's deck. And what's the other
If there
one?
weren't such strange creatures in Equidon, I think my custom art, I would have liked it to be in Equidon.
Yeah, you didn't want to have 3 arms.
No.
Some weird plumes back here. Be
Yeah.
like your green screen. It'd match perfectly. Unfathomable is still up there. Geistoid being, yeah. All right, which house that started with more than one pod had the lowest retention rate in rounds 1 to 2?
Boy.
So lowest retention rate of something that had more than one pod.
I think it's Untamed because so many Witch Queen decks have been eliminated.
That is a good call. I mean, a lot of the Worlds Collide logos, Mass Mutation logos, AOA logos. There's a lot of those too. Harm
Harm
says
says B.
B. Interesting.
Mars.
Because we still have
Equidon is one
some.
of the most inclusive houses. Regular humans fit right in. Yeah.
Do we have? We don't have any more logos Untamed left, do we?
I don't know by heart. B
Are all
makes
the K
sense.
gone yet? We'll
Mars.
see.
Okay.
All right.
Hit it. Hit it. I'm so curious.
It is Untamed.
See? I told you.
0
Untamed.
of 12.
All of the... But Untamed was really good in Archon, though.
That's
Right?
brutal. Yeah. Yeah, Untamed made it all the way to almost the finals.
Yeah.
Or at the finals, right? Because there's Untamed and
Yeah.
S. Yeah.
Untamed was in all four top 4 decks, I think.
So logo's actually doing pretty well. Surprisingly. But yeah.
Bad houses. 0 out of 12. That is...
It's pretty bad.
That's sick. Untamed sucks in Alliance. You
Is
heard
there
it here
only
first.
there's only one Mars pod left? Is that right?
Apparently. Apparently.
That's crazy. What am I gonna do? I have to change my theme of my entire channel.
Most
Right.
undefeated cards?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So which cards have not lost a match, I'm assuming, not a game.
If they were played, you won the game. Is that what you're saying?
You might
I
have to
think that
explain
must
this
be
one
it.
for
So
us,
if
Snoopy.
they were played, then the game was won.
It's the most
That's what I
undefeated
imagine.
cards remaining. Feels like it would make sense for it to be.
I must be unfathomable. No, no, no.
I mean, that's probably. What has Star Alliance even done? What have we seen in Star Alliance in this?
Every,
I guess
every
the
stat is per
Lees.
match.
Yeah.
Captain Gale.
If they are in
Well,
the deck has never lost a single game.
oh,
So then we
okay.
are looking more at the 2 O's.
Okay,
Ooh,
okay.
which, yeah, there's a couple that could be in
I
there.
don't think it's Geistoid then.
Yeah, Geisters has a lot
Equidon
of
has
cards
done
that we've
quite
lost.
well as well.
Could be
I think Equidon or
logos,
Unfathomable.
maybe.
Equidon or Unfathomable.
Let's see. Yeah, that question is confusing. Sorry.
No.
Equidon
Yeah.
and Star Alliance having 8
Ah, because it
undefeated
was
cards. So I
spliced.
mean,
Let me see.
there's a lot of unique cards between, like, in Equidon. A lot of people are taking the pods just for like one card, so you see a lot of other random ones thrown in there in that pod. Um, Star Alliance is surprising though. I feel
Yeah,
like you see a lot of Lees, you see the Rogops, but again, that deck not defeated yet, right? So interesting. Unfathomable still up
nice.
there, Disc still up there, Geistoid logo still doing okay with JDG's deck there, especially. All right, which pod generated the most amber in round
Well,
2, including key cheats? I feel like we might know this one.
if it's not B, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to eat this shoe. That's not what I'm saying. But it has to be B, right?
Probably has to be B based on what we've seen.
Please be B.
Oh wait, it's that Mars. Yeah,
Please be B. Okay.
3.94. Most amber generated the
That's a
most amber.
lot.
Is that per turn or per game or
I think it must be per turn. For one
for
pod per
each?
turn.
Yeah, for whenever that
Yes.
pod is played. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Which pod purged the most cards in round 2?
Well,
It's tough. It's in the
well,
name, so it feels like it might be.
actually,
Yeah, there are some Geister. We did see what was it? The double. Was there a
Singing Scythe and Mender.
double singing side doing stuff? Yeah,
Harm is going for
could
his
it
own
be?
deck A. I think it still might have to be. That's tough. It could be A or B. It could be A or B.
I think if I didn't see the games
Poltergeist, though, it
from,
purges one every turn when the loop is going, so it mustn't be. It's probably not higher than one. And I think A and B might both be higher than one, though.
right, but he only did that one game, right? He only did the infinite in one match.
Yeah, so I don't think it's C.
Yeah,
I don't think it's C because it won't go
I'm still
higher
gonna
than
go
one.
B because I think that happened just so much in those
Yeah,
matches.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a little
Yeah,
close, but yeah, that's
yeah,
doing
yeah.
a lot. Well, what's interesting is if you did this based off of Star Alliance turns, that number might actually be higher, right?
Hmm.
If you do cards purged on Star Alliance turns when you're able to play the Infernus, I wonder if that number is actually higher. Be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, Snoopy.
No, that's fine, Stubby.
It's
We
tough.
love the questions.
Yeah.
We're all.
All right. Which pod had the highest pick rate in round 2? Is this
Oh.
for? Oh, this is just what house you choose at the start of your
I'm
turn.
immediately inclined to say B, but
Mm. Just call this. Always call this.
yeah.
Speed Buctions Locos, Shark Baits, Geistoid.
Yeah, right. So Riku and Harm also go B.
Well, I mean
E.
the E is
Okay.
another one, right? Because in the one game it did go infinite, so
A
there was
is
like
also pretty good.
4 or 5 turns in a row that you went Geistoid.
That's also true, but I think
Yeah, we did see the
well,
one match from
I'm sticking with
Aviator's
B.
deck.
I'm sticking with B.
How many Mars can you put in one? Listen, Aviator's here for the accolades
Mars,
of
Mars, Mars is
statistics.
Mars. I don't know.
Oh,
There you go.
no,
See,
baby.
let's go by far.
Lots of that house being called. I mean, game 2, I think that was all she called, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. So very impressive to be able to call the same house that many times. But the house pips, of course, help with that, right?
It does.
That's one of the cool things about Amber Skies. Which pods had the lowest pick rate in round 2?
I think I know this one as well. Actually, I don't. Actually, I don't. They might be very on par.
I'm trying to remember.
I think it's got to be Unfathomable from Kappa DM's A. I think so.
Well, but like we just saw that Sydney's Dis was called all the time, so it could be her Equidon that was never called.
Yeah, but if it's higher than 10%,
A with 0.
I think it was only called once in all of his turns.
Yeah.
I think. So it's like what, 8%?
Oh no!
Oh no!
We were all wrong.
Oh no! Donkey Forge didn't call Equidon at all.
At all. This is just in round 2, right? So this was just against Dr. Sheet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so cool.
They're all still very low, right? 6%. 0.
But
Yeah.
probably one turn for Harmed and
It's
one
crazy.
turn for Sydney.
But it's
Yeah.
so funny because both of those decks you would call like Bryo Calp lockouts, and they just don't even call.
Yeah.
They don't even call that house.
Yeah,
That's
that's funny.
hilarious. Oh wait, no, that's the Equidon.
That is
Sorry,
Equidon,
yeah, yeah,
but
sorry, I had that wrong.
LPDM doesn't call that house. No.
Yeah, yeah, because it can play the manifold out of house. So, which card was played the most times in round 2? Oh gosh,
Junk Restoration or
I don't think so.
Kirby? I think
I'm
Kirby with
going.
the Hysteria, but Mindfire was looped in Rule of 6.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. These can all be.
I would go Kirby or Mindfire. I think.
Yeah,
Captain
I
Gale
would.
says Kirby. Kirby got played a lot. There was a lot of hysterias
I
there.
think it's also Kirby.
Yeah, but how many turns did
But
JG
Infernus
actually
can also
have
be
to rule of
played.
6 to do this?
Infernus can also be played so many times, though.
Yeah, this is tricky. I don't think it's junk restoration, which is the interesting thing because in Archon, I
Okay, I'm
think
gonna
that
go
was
with
one of the
Infernus.
highest ones,
Everyone
right?
else says A, C, D. I'm gonna go with B.
Ah, it's Infernus.
Oh,
Very, very close though to Mindfire.
true.
So JDG also on the stat train there, but Infernus being up there, Infernus being in a couple decks still. So that is gonna help pad that. But obviously, Fakey's deck playing Infernus quite a bit, among other things. And then Sydney's deck also having one. JDG's jet deck
Yeah,
also
yeah,
having
yeah.
one. So it's all over the place. Junk Restoration at 21, Kirby at 21, still pretty high for those. Which uncommon card was played the most times in round 2? Interesting. So there weren't.
I see. By the way, that's like 23:20 already. So let's maybe we gotta speed up a little
We gotta
bit.
speed this up. Okay. Uh, so we know there weren't as many key abductions. I think Battlefleet was
Uncommon.
still played a lot. I would
I
probably guess
think Calp
Battlefleet.
must be
You
Calp.
think Calp? All right, let's take a look.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Battlefleet. So we
No,
had a lot of
Battlefleet.
failed Battlefleets. They were played, but they didn't
Yeah,
get the
true.
combo off
That's
nearly
true.
as much.
That's true.
All right, which rare card was played the most? Val, Neutron Shark, Poltergeistoids, or Time Traveler? Ooh. I still think that might be Val. I think Fakey played that almost every turn. It was
Time
getting
Traveler.
bounced. Time Traveler would be a good one, except those games were so fast. I don't think it's Shark. I don't think it's Poltergeistoids. I'm calling Val. Time Traveler. We've got a Neutron Shark. It's Val. Yeah. The Hysteria's just bouncing it all the time, getting those extra plays. All right. Which card of these choices archived the most cards total in round 2? Autoencoder, Ultra Gravitron, Winds of Death.
Oof.
Yikes.
Autoencoder did 12 at least that I know of.
So we only looked at the one game. I don't think I looked at the discards at the other game. But yeah, it wasn't as many as I expected for that. Winds of Death archives cards for both players, right? So like that can do a ton, but I don't think there were many Winds of Death played. Like it was just, well, which matchup? There might have been one matchup where it was played more. Ultra Gravitron, I don't think did it.
I'm
So it's
gonna
either
go
A or
with
C. I'll go with C. We got A from Harmed. Oh, it's way
Winds of Death. Ooh.
Okay. How many more of these do you know do we have?
I don't know.
You tell me. It's
We
midday
can
for
go
me,
through.
but if you gotta go to bed.
No, I'm already screwed for the rest of the week. It's fine.
Which undefeated card has been played the most times in rounds
It'll
1
be
to
like
2?
15 more of these, I think. Yeah.
So Tachyon would have been played probably 5 or 6 times. Stirring Grave, I think got played a decent amount. Waking Nightmare got looped, I think, as part of that rule of 6. So I'm gonna say Waking Nightmare.
Yeah, thank you, Manifold. Thank you, Manifold.
You
Let's
think it's
go.
Tachyon? Nah, I
Yes.
think Waking Nightmare is getting rule of 6 in JDG's jet deck.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's got one of his drop hips on there, so he has to
So
play
much
that to
better
do
at
the
this than
loop.
me.
Maybe I just pay attention to the matches instead of
Oh,
doing work
shut
on like
up.
all these amazing
Maybe
graphics and
someone's
stuff.
making a lot of graphics instead of being able to watch the
No,
matches.
here's what happened is Captain Gale took on so much of the streaming. I didn't have to do as much, so I got to watch matches. It was great. All right, which card that started with at least 7 copies in the tournament was the highest win rate? Started with at least 7 copies in the tournament. That's the highest win rate? I kind of like Infernus. Geist has done a lot too, but most decks don't have more than like 1 or 2 copies of those. We know there's like 3 copy ones.
I want it to be Geist.
Calp is good too. There's a lot of 2 Calp decks. I'm gonna say Infernus. It is the Calp at 72. Oh, Infernus was the lowest. Shoot.
Yeah. Well, the lowest of these, there's a
Yeah,
lot more cards that are way lower, but
yeah, that's
lowest
fair.
of the highest.
But Calp being way up there. Which card that started with at least 7 copies in the tournament has the lowest win rate?
Haunting Witch. Let's go.
Or
Or
Eddie.
Key
Poor
Abduction.
Eddie.
Key Abduction,
Poor
actually.
Caruso and Dave. Key Abduction would also be interesting, but I don't think there were. I guess it had to have
Yeah,
started with
they're
at
all
least 7.
crappy cards, right?
But those made it at least a little bit farther. Haunting, which is probably also a good call. It is the Eddie.
Eddie.
Poor Eddie. Not quite making it there. Oh, okay, so this
Oh,
was
yeah.
your late edition.
Yes, there are 7 questions left. That's fine. That's fine. So these are Alliance versus Archon round 2 stats, which they're interesting. So
So
obviously Alliance on the left,
Alliance on the left, Archon on the right. So
Archon
which
on
one
the right.
forged the most keys? There
Over
were
round 2.
there were more 2-0s this round than last round, I think. But I think it's still close.
You can still lose 3-2 or 3-0 or be
Yeah.
more of
There was a lot of
a.
0 keys forged though this
You
round.
would think that the games are more one-sided in Alliance, so I think it'd be
I think it was
Archon.
Archon. Ooh, yeah. So Archon forged a few
69
more. All right, which had the fewest turns per match on average? This one I think would be Archon,
has to be
because
Alliance.
JDG made it in had the fewest turns per match.
Yeah.
You think Alliance is lower?
Well, that's what people are saying,
That's
right?
true.
But
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
people would say. I think JDG making it this far has bumped our number up a
Probably.
lot.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
there's a few others, like not all of these decks. There's a lot more control in Alliance than in Archon, right? Archon is mostly trying to win
Yeah.
fast. Alliance has a lot more like disruption kind of game plans. Yep, so Archon having a little bit fewer turns
Yeah.
on average. Which game had the most amber generated per turn on average? If we're counting key abductions, this would still be either side. I think this would still be Archon. There was some crazy amber generation, like from
Could be. Yeah.
the TOC decks and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna say this would still be Archon. Yeah, barely, but a little
Ooh,
bit more.
close though. Close.
But again, key abductions maybe did a little bit better in Archon as well. Which had the most 2-0 matches? There were a lot of them
I
more this round than I
don't know.
expected, but I think this would still be Archon had more in this round of 8 matches. Actually, this might be. I could almost see this being tied. I feel like
I
there was
think
still a
it's. I
decent
think
amount.
Archon had. I felt like Archon had more 2-0 matches.
One
There you go.
more. So 6 out of 8 in round 2 of Archon were 2-0s. Crazy. But we had 5 this round. There were definitely more polarized matchups this
Yeah,
round than we had in
Riku, you're
round
right.
1.
I think the lines meta changing to disruption leads to those stats for
Yeah.
sure. I think I need to take some action here with the kids, Orion. So
Okay.
I'm gonna. I
I'll
think there's like 5 to 10 minutes left on this stream, so I'm gonna do that, and
okay.
then I'll leave you to it.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for watching,
Yeah.
and you do you, and see
Have a good
you in the
night, bud.
next rounds, everyone. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Now that he's gone, we can talk about him. Which had the most Bryozoarch negated actions. So this is a really interesting one because I feel like there weren't many because Kaup was almost always on the board with Bryo. But how many Bryo decks were actually playing in Archon? I don't feel like it was a ton either, but I don't know that those had the Kaup out as much. So I would still say Archon. Oh, never mind. It is just so many more with Bryo. Okay, maybe I didn't watch those matches as much. Alliance had way more negated, but there was more copies of Bryo in Alliance. Yeah, Bandola might have been the only one that made it very far. So, or the only one that existed in round 2. All right, which had the most actions per deck? This has got to be Alliance. I mean, Random Joe's deck alone is like 70% actions. Oh yeah, there was the Woe Bryo, but it didn't make it. And that matchup didn't really have. There were actions, but it was a lot of creature control. That was creature based, so the Bryo didn't get to sit out very long. Yeah, this is probably going to be Alliance, right? So many action cards in Alliance. Yeah, only one more on average, but still, definitely going to be higher. Which had the most creatures per deck? I mean, if you have more actions, it's most likely going to be more creatures on the other side. But yeah, oh, by a lot. So also fewer like artifacts and stuff, or more artifacts. So yeah, that would be like more artifacts and upgrades in Alliance than we see in Archon. So Archon more actions and creatures, Alliance having a little bit broader mix of everything. Oh, I guess we're gonna see that now. So at this point, you could probably guess Alliance is gonna have more artifacts. There's a lot of more artifact dependent decks in Alliance, which is very interesting. And again, why I think artifact control in Alliance might be really worth bringing. By over almost one more per deck. Yeah, that's fine, Snoopy. This is pretty fun. Which had the most upgrades per deck. I also think this is going to be Alliance, but also we didn't really get to see a whole lot of like Star Alliance upgrade bouncing, but we do get to see that in Alliance, in Fakey's deck especially, but we've seen that in some other places too. There was a, oh, which one was it? The double transport platform deck that was also doing some upgrade bouncing. So I think that's going to be, yeah, Alliance by over double. All right, so now we just got some facts about the tournament. I think this is the last stuff we've got, so we'll see. 29 discard pips in the tournament, 16 draw pips, 13 capture pips, 10 house pips, 6 damage pips, and 1 enhanced damage amber pip. Enhanced amber pip. Left in the tournament. Okay, I was going to say, this seems low for what we started with, but that's what's left. So those damage pips not being super important. There's only 1 enhanced amber pip. Really? Doesn't Aviator's deck have some? Maybe it doesn't. That'd be pretty crazy. Lots of draw, I guess, in that one, but those must all be natural pips. Huh, that's actually very interesting. This is the crazy one. So compare this with Archon. There are 0 key cheats left in the tournament at this point. As we said, this tournament being very control based, and with that, that really stops key cheats from working as well. So a lot of those key cheat decks just getting totally knocked out here. All right, all 4 of the eliminated coded decks had Mars in them. The only remaining coded deck does not have Mars. Again, that's going to be Random Joe's deck, which is much more on the disruption plan, which is what we've seen doing well in this tournament compared to all the combo ones that are trying to do the key abduction stuff. Yeah, there were still a lot of key abductions left in Archon round 2. I'd have to go back and see what that number is. Mars has the only Mars pod left in the tournament. That's pretty crazy also. So compared to Archon, there was so much Mars doing well at this point. Just all the combo stuff, all the key abduction stuff. Lots more GR Mars was in the tournament, I think, compared to this one. Most of the GR decks went a different route. Most of the Mars we saw in this tournament was like Coda and stuff. So yeah, very interesting. But also, Aviator's deck is like half Mars instead of just 1/3 Mars. So that also kind of is fun. All 8 winning decks in round 2 had higher keys checked per turn than any of the 8 losing decks in round 2. Okay. So even though they're control-y matchups, the controlled decks are still checking faster too. So that's one of the kind of interesting things. And this is again what we saw in Damat's matchup, where even though the control went against him, he wasn't able to use his control as much. He was still being able to check while kind of having to work around his opponent's game plan. So these decks are not only control-y, but they're still decently fast. But while doing it with that disruption game plan. In rounds 1 and 2, Equidon had the highest win rate and the lowest pick rate. That's hilarious. We saw one of those like Equidon houses not even getting picked ever, but still being a very high win rate because of the special rares that are coming out of that house. Unfathomable had the second highest win rate and the second lowest pick rate. So house cheating is basically the name of the game in Alliance, is one of the things we're seeing. Yeah, they make their opponents exceptionally slow. That's definitely what we're seeing in a lot of this, but some of them are doing it while still being fast. Random Joes especially, there's pips all over the place, but still very, very disruptive. There are 3 undefeated decks remaining in the tournament: Carpe Diem, the Quixel Master, and To Infinity and Beyond. So that means these decks haven't lost a single game yet. Trying to remember if any of these are facing each other yet. I don't think they are, because Carpe Diem and To Infinity and Beyond are playing each other, aren't they? I believe that's those 2. All right, 6 of the 8 remaining decks have either Infernus or Bryo Calp. I mean, that makes sense based on everything else we've seen. Lots of disruption being the name of the game and kind of what it is winning out in these tournaments while doing it with some speed. So yeah, makes sense. 3 Bryocalp decks remaining, and then some Infernus decks. Or is it more than 3? Must be if the 6 of 8 have either. Oh no, because there's 3 Infernuses, 3 different Infernus decks. All right, key cheat stats. I did not get a chance to look at this before. Is this for Archon or for Alliance? Key Abduction did not forge 22 keys this round, right? This is all of Alliance? Is this round 1 maybe? Sorry, I should have looked at this more. Chota doing some. Red Amber Drake doing some. Total in tournament. Okay, yeah. So this is a lot of keys that have been forged off of these cards. And none of these are left in the tournament. So not able to make it any farther than this, even despite key abductions doing 22 keys out between 7 different cards. Like, that's a lot of key cheats happening. And we did see some of those decks able to have one game where they got that to fire and were able to OTK with the key abductions, but not able to do it consistently enough across 3 games to stay in it. Is that our last one? Made it to the end. All right. 186 slides later. So that is round 2 wrap up. Again, be on the lookout for both our round 3 matches and those challenger matches. We're gonna try and do stream all the challenger matches as well as the round 3 matches. So there should be 8 matches again this week, all best of 3. Like we said, all of those have a deck on the line. And for the people still in the tournament, they have those top prizes still on the line as they work towards that. Thank you all so much for hanging out today with us. I know these can be a little bit long, but so much cool stuff. Snoopy, thank you so much for all of these stats and info. It's a blast to get to see all of this. And yeah, it's been a fantastic tournament, especially to have so much community engagement as well. We love doing this. Huge shout out to Lord Judo for just the amount of time and effort he puts into getting all these graphics and stuff put together. So many people to thank for this, our content creators as well. There's been so much cool stuff going on, so be on the lookout for those, and we'll see you next time on the final refrain. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great rest of your Sunday, unless it is almost midnight, and then have a great Monday. We'll see you all later. Take care.